Hi everyone, it's Roman from Acceleration. Today we are in the third part of our training on n8n. It's a free training on YouTube, so you can follow that for free. Feel free if you have any question to ask the question in the comments. Last time we saw how to create credentials on n8n. So we already connect Google Sheets on our instance. We connect also Notion and we connect OpenAI to our instance. We explain all the part of the credentials and also the generic possibility credentials. And today we are going to create our first automation. So it's a really easy automation, but the objective is just to understand like how an automations work. So firstly, we are going to create on our workflow, like here you can see our screen, we can create a workflow on our n8n. The first things to do before start the workflow, we have to create two databases, one on Google Sheet and one on Notion, because the objective of our automation today will be to take a row on Google Sheet and create a row on Notion in a database. It's really easy, but we have to learn how to do that, and when we understand how to do that, we are going to create more difficult automation for sure. So to start, here we have our Google Drive and we can create a Google Sheet. So I create a Google Sheet and I can integrate test2, for example, and here I can integrate first name, last name, and company, for example. Here I create Roman, kosher, acceleration. Okay, so I have my first row, Roman, kosher, and the company acceleration on our Google Sheet. We are going to create the same thing here. So another database on Notion. So here I can create database and I'm going to name it test2 training, and I can create property. So not name for the title, I'm going to take full name. After, I'm going to create another property, first name, last name, and the last one, company. Okay, so we have 4 columns on this one and 3 columns on our Google Sheet. And the objective is to take this row and to integrate it here directly on our Notion database. So to create a Notion database page. So the first things to do is to create, to integrate a trigger. So on our next training, we are going to see all the triggers that exist in n8n. But today we are going to use the more easy one. So the trigger manually, it's like just launch when you click on execute workflow, and we are going to search Google Sheet at the right of your screen. When you choose Google Sheet, we can have get rows in sheets. We can select get rows in sheets. You have to select your good credential here, and after you have to put the document. You can choose it by list here, but you also can choose it by the ID. So here on the URL, you can find the ID. And here you can say by ID. When you've done that, you can choose which sheet you want. And normally it's good. You have your first node is normally set to work. So if I test the workflow, you can see that my workflow has an input like just a click when I click execute workflow, in output, it search the row and it gets row number 2, first name Romain, last name Kochar, and company name Acceleration. Now, when we have that, we don't want for our next try to do again API call on Google Sheet because we already done it. So on our try, we just have to click right here and to click on pin. After that, you click on plus, and here we can search for Notion. Notion, you have different actions, and we have to select create a database page. When you have create a database page, we select here the good one, so you can search the database, but like the next time, you can also like choose it here and get the ID directly here. So here is the ID of the database. This is the view ID, so you don't have and you don't need this for the moment. So I come back here, I choose database by ID, and I can choose title here. The title, we say it's the full name. So here you can see that I have the first name and the last name. So I can take here the first name, I drag and drop here, space, the last name, drag and drop here, and I have Romain Kochar. Now, we just have to create the three other property. So the first name, the last name, and also the company name. And like the full name, I just have to take the first name, I put it here, the last name, I put it here, and the company name, I put it here. It's good. Our workflow normally is working, so I just have to click on execute workflow and let's see what's happened. Okay, create a database page and I have one item that's working. And I saw normally it creates a database page. I just have to come back on my database, I check, and I have in full name Romain Kochar, and the company name Acceleration. So this automation, your first automation, it's pretty easy automation, but it's just to understand how I take an input to put it directly on my nodes, what kind of output I can have, this kind of things. It's pretty easy, but it's really cool. Now, for the next time, we are going to see all the possibility of triggers, how we can launch a workflow. And when we've done that, we can after create more complex workflow for sure. So if you have any questions, you can ask us in the comments of this video, and have a good day.